Hey, what's up everybody? It is B-Hub. We have a couple of new heroes that just came out for Halloween, and we're going to go over those heroes right now. So let's get into it. The first hero on the list is Baracus the Shifter. He is a new legendary skinwalker hero, and he looks like a lot of fun, and let's check him out. This is what this guy does. First, let's go over his stats actually real quick because they're pretty interesting to me. So his HP, you got him at almost 20,000, which is a really high amount of HP. His attack is 1465, which is a very high attack. That's really good. His defense is really low. It's only 793, so not even 800. His speed's 101, which is really good. And then his other stuff is pretty normal down here as well. It's really this low defense that makes me wonder about him. Now, he has some obviously stuff in his kit that can help get around this, but I'm curious as to see how squishy this will actually be. We'll see whenever somebody pulls him and we have a chance to get a better look. But right now, his A1 Innocent Blood attacks one enemy and heals his champ by 15% of the damage inflicted. So he does have some self heals on here, which you combine that with a high HP, and that does bode well for survivability, even though he has a low defense. His A2, his Full Moon Rampage, this one is really interesting. Attacks one enemy 6 times and heals this champion by 25% of the damage inflicted. The heals this champion by 50% of the damage inflicted instead if the target is under a fear or a true fear debuff. And after the first hit, it has a 75% chance of placing the 25% weaken debuff for 3 turns, which is that's awesome to be able to place it for that long. Now, if you go down here, you can level this up. They give you a 100% chance of placing the weaken, which is awesome. We always like the 100% chance. And you can get this actually reduced to a 3-turn cooldown. So he can be hitting really hard very frequently. I don't know how hard each individual hit is, but hitting 6 times is a lot. So I assume he's going to be able to nuke a single target. I mean, this is a huge attack right here. I really like it. It seems like a lot of fun, honestly. It seems like a good werewolf kind of ability. Hunter's Howl is his next ability. It places an increased attack buff on all allies for 3 turns, then attacks one enemy 3 times. So you get the buff before you get the attack, which is good. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a true fear debuff on a target for 1 turn, whoever you attack, and has a 50% chance of placing a fear debuff on 2 random enemies for 1 turn if the true fear debuff is placed. So let's take a look at this. 1 enemy 3 times, you get 3 attacks, and each hit has a 50% chance. You can level that up to a 75% chance, which is a really, really good chance of you actually landing this true fear. Like that's a very good chance of that. Then you have the additional 50% chance. I'm not sure if the 50% chance is on the additional attacks each, but I doubt it. My guess is that there's just a flat 75% chance, I would assume, of landing the fear after you land the true fear. So that's pretty interesting. So this is going to go good, and this can get reduced to a 4-turn cooldown. So here's what we can see about this. For this, if you're using this guy in, I would say almost anywhere, you probably, although this is such a good attack right here, I mean, if you really need to nuke somebody, then you probably can, but this gives you the increased attack. And then you get to attack one enemy 3 times. So this is probably where you start with this guy. You probably start with the increased attack here to give yourself that additional power. You attack, and then you get the true fear, and then you have the opportunity of placing the fear. Now this is actually a pretty significant chance that this actually works if you have this booked, especially. So you're looking at doing that, because then if you go over here and you do this attack second, the Full Moon Rampage, it heals his champ by 50%. if it's under one of these buffs. So his heal does get better if you do it this way. Now his passive is awesome. Look at this. His passive effect is his damage increases by 40%, which is huge, when this champion drops below 40 HP. Now that's pretty significant. But then his active effect is also insane. Revives this champion with 20% HP when killed and immediately grants an extra turn. Immediately. So he goes next. And this can get reduced to a 5-turn cooldown. So check this out. Obviously he gets rezzed, but then his damage will be increased by 40%. And then you have an opportunity to probably use one of these two abilities, hopefully the Full Moon Rampage, and you can hopefully heal by either 25 or 50%. with the obviously the 40% increase. So I mean, you're looking at possibly being able to heal back up even after being taken out. Now, there's a couple of things I want to say about this hero because it's really interesting, all the implications that it has for this guy. So one, let's start out with can he be good in Clan Boss? I think so. I think he could be okay in Clan Boss. I don't think that he's going to end up being like one of the top tier Clan Boss heroes. It depends on how hard he hits, honestly, which is unknown. He's got a high attack, but not everybody hits like Turvold does, right? Like not everybody has that kind of damage output. So, you know, it's a question like how much damage is he actually going to do on his own? So we'll have to see, but I think he'll be okay. But I don't think he'll be like in the top damage dealers, obviously. But I think he'll be good. I think it'll be fun for Clan Boss. Now, here's the thing for Clan Boss. You need to get this reduced right here to the 3-turn cooldown. If you can get this reduced to a 3-turn cooldown, then he's going to be, pretty much he's going to be able to keep weaken up for almost the entire fight. This will be a 100% chance. The weaken is for 3 turns, and the cooldown will be for 3 turns. So you're looking at keeping the good weaken up for almost the entire fight. Now, here's the other thing. If you want this guy, obviously you're like, I really want to put Giant Slayer on him as my final mastery. Obviously, why? Because he hits 6 times on one ability, which is awesome. But if you don't have this book to a 3-turn cooldown, then it's actually not as great as you think for something like Clan Boss. Because this is only a 1 attack on his default skill. I mean, you put this into a rotation, and he's really not getting as many attacks as you think. Compare it to somebody who has 3 hits on their A1, on their default skill. They will be getting more hits in than this guy will, if you stretch out that timeline. So for him, if you want to put Giant Slayer on him, I mean, get this thing cooled down. And then it's insane. Then if you get this to a 3-turn cooldown, that means you have a lot of chances to proc. Obviously, he's going to get like his little revenge hit in and be able to possibly just come back into the fight. And even after he gets down, maybe he gets hit with a critical hit and he can come back up, and that's great. Now, in Arena, this is a really interesting thing here because of this beast mode. Obviously, speed is key in Arena right now, but Baracus actually gives you an opportunity to maybe go second and still win. You would have to probably pair him with some other heroes who have similar abilities. Someone like a Skull Crown, who is going to be able to get hit and not die because of her passive and then attack back. But I mean, with this, you can probably nuke down a single target hero. You can heal back up pretty high, I would imagine. And so this gives you an opportunity in places like Arena to do that. Now, he's obviously going to, I think, be really good in other places as well. I think he'd be good pretty much all around as a hero because of his kit. But we've spent a lot of time on him, so let's go on to a different hero. Let's go check out the Frankenstein guy, the Miscreated Monster. So this guy's pretty cool. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 15% chance of placing that stun. You can make that a 25% chance. Has a 50% chance of landing this decreased defense debuff if the stun debuff is placed. So you have this is a lot of chances that you have to do here, but he does have the opportunity to stun on his A1, which is helpful, and the decreased defense is also helpful as well. Now, the A2 is really what I think makes him great. You can get this reduced to a 3-turn cooldown. He attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. But then he places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns, equal to 25% of the damage inflicted. So you get a bit of a heal or the shield. And the shield is really nice, but really this opportunity to stun an entire wave every 3 turns is pretty significant, I would say, on its own. So this guy you can rock with a lot of different kind of gear. You can put him in some taunting gear if you wanted to help him try and tank some of those hits, because he can do this attacks all enemies thing. He's already placing the stun, so that's pretty significant right there. And he's going to heal up your people. I mean, I think he's going to be very disruptive in a lot of places. I think he would be good in Arena. But again, if you can get him to go first so he has an opportunity to stun everybody and give you a shield, I think that's good. His other ability is A3. It's alive. Places the ally protection on everyone except for him for 3 turns. 3 turns is a pretty significant amount of time, obviously. Heals his champ by 50% of their max HP, so he gets a big heal, and he gets a continuous heal buff for 3 turns as well. So that's also a very significant continuous heal buff there. So that's going to be good. He's going to help you. He's going to help tank a lot of these hits from your other people. Then his passive is it places a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under the ally protection buff. So this is really cool. This is an interesting ability, and this is really going to help you with your crowd control, right? So obviously you want to keep this up, so that way anytime an ally is attacked, they just get a fear debuff, and it just places 1. There's no % chance of this happening, so it just places it. And then there's obviously the 50-50 chance of them, either succeeding or failing at their next turn. So that's pretty good. I think he's a very disruptive hero. I could definitely see him in Arena, and I could definitely see him in Faction Wars and Dungeon Waves, clearing out stuff like that if you don't have anybody better. He is a viable champ for all of those areas. He's not for Clan Boss, but he's really good in all these other areas. And he is one of the HP-based heroes, so his damage is based off of his HP, that's awesome. I like to see those kind of heroes. They've been coming out with them more and more lately. But yeah, so that's Miscreated Monster. Our last one is the Witch, who is a dark elf. It's Madame Serris. She's a support hero, and you'll definitely see that. She's got a high base HP as well and a pretty decent defense, so that's good. First one, her Panic Spread. Attacks one enemy, 20% chance of landing a fear debuff, 30% if a target is under 1 debuff, and a 45% if a target is under 2 debuffs. Now, you're probably going to have the 20% chance if it's her, because her other part of her kit is all about removing and stealing buffs. So this Tricks and Treats, so you can get this reduced to a 3-turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies, has a 40, you can make that a 50% chance of stealing a random buff from each target. So that's pretty good already when it comes to either Arena or Dungeon Waves or Faction Wars right there. So she's good there. Places a block debuffs buff on all of your allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen. So obviously depending on how many people there are up, whether it's 4 in Arena, maybe 5 in the Dungeon Wave or in Faction Wars, then bam, you have a pretty good chance that you're going to steal at least 1. Which means that you're probably going to get this block debuffs for you, which is awesome. And that's for 2 turns. That's a pretty significant block debuffs time length. That's awesome there. And then places the True Fear debuff on for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen. So anyone who gets the buff stolen gets a True Fear, and that's really good as well. True Fear is a very helpful debuff. It's not one of the best debuffs in the game, but I'll take it. Right? Like, I'm okay with that. I'll take the True Fear. It has an opportunity to put one of their things on cooldown and an opportunity for them to miss a turn. I'll take it, right? Because this does a lot right here. So this is a good ability. Her A3 is also really interesting. It just removes all buffs from enemies and then gives them the decreased attack and the decreased defense for 3 turns, and it is the good version of both of those things. This is a really significant move right here. Like, this is insane. So this is obvious. These two are going to kind of be in competition with one another because you're trying to steal debuffs to get these 2 things to work, and this one just removes them, no questions asked. So there is no % chance. It just removes it. So you are going to be kind of battling between these 2 abilities. But I will say this, for anybody who is struggling with like their Arena team, take her, and then she's going to remove all the buffs from the enemies, and really it's this decreased defense that is going to help you nuke down the opposing team, but also the decreased attack. If they do manage to get another turn, they're going to hit significantly softer. I mean, this is an insane ability right here just in itself. This can bail you out of so many situations. I think this ability is amazing. Very, very strong. Witch's Grace is her passive. Places a shield on her for 10% of her max HP at the start of each turn. And then when she's attacked under this, she has a 30% chance of landing the fear on an attacker. This isn't like amazing, but it's just helpful. I mean, it's a passive ability. It's free, and it can be helpful. Maybe it helps you out in some situations. Maybe you land the fear, and maybe the fear goes off. There's not a huge % chance of that happening, but maybe it helps you out. But man, I think her kit is really interesting, especially this Midnight Ritual. It's just insane. So very, very strong there. All of the new heroes are worth it. Obviously, the last hero is Harvest Jack, but I already mentioned him in the previous video that I did. There, you know, he's on there. You can check him out and see my review of him. I'm not going to review him twice, but he is, I think, a solid hero. All of these heroes are good. I hope that I get all of them. I would be happy with any single one of those heroes. I would use them. I would test them out. There are obviously better replacements for some of them in this game. So I mean, like the Frankenstein guy, like he can be pretty easily replaced. But he is good if you don't have anybody better. Now, here's what I would like to say here at the end is I mean, new heroes is fun. These new heroes have you know, they got their new skins, and they're kind of, you know, attempting to tailor them towards, you know, their kind of character, like the werewolf and the witch and everything like that. And that's cool and that's interesting, and I appreciate that. But my biggest concern is always this. I just, as much as, I mean, one, the new hero, they obviously dilute the pool a little bit, right? So it gives you a less, or, you know, a less chance of getting those heroes that you're really shooting for, because now there's just more and more heroes. And that's one complaint. But my thing is, I'm just hoping, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm just hoping that Plarium is actually working on the things that are really crucial to this game and not just developing new heroes. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they start improving things like the arena and improving, you know, kind of balancing some of the things that need to be balanced in this game. I've covered that in other videos, so I'm not just going to rant about it now. But that's just my hope. It's not that I don't like the new heroes. I do like these new heroes. They're all very solid heroes, and I would enjoy having them. I just hope that they're not spending their time on, let's focus on a bunch of new heroes, instead of let's actually fix the things that will make this game better. It's already a good game, and I really enjoy it, but there is a ton of room for improvement, and I hope that they're doing that, like spending time making these events a little bit different and giving you some extra, you know, stuff to work with there. That would be really nice. Yeah, so we will see. We will see what they do here in the future, and we'll check that out. But until then, we'll see. But for these heroes, I do enjoy them. I do like them. If you got something out of this video, hit like and hit subscribe, and I would really appreciate that. If you're feeling super generous, there's the donation link below. And if you want to know what gear I use, Amazon affiliate links are in the link below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.